There we go. Get that set up. So, Fallout New Vegas. What would I want to talk about? Story. Actually. Yeah, let me do story. Characters. Game. Oh god. What happened? Gameplay. Music. Weapons. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to really touch on. The story, the characters, gameplay, music, weapons, the world. I mean, I guess weapons go under gameplay, but I don't know. Then I'll just do like DLC with Dead Money, Honest Hearts, Old World Blues, and then Lonesome Road. And that should be about everything. So, Lance. Yeah, Story of New Vegas. I quite like it. Starts off with nearly your death, and then it's a tale of revenge that gives you a lot of really good reasons to explore the world. You know, it takes you on a journey throughout a lot of Vegas that if it's your first time playing, you can experience the locations fairly organically. You know, going from Good Springs, where you can help out the town's residents fight off the powder gangers, down to Prim, where again, help them fight off powder gangers and establish the law. Down and around towards, towards Nipton, where you get introduced to the Legion for the first time, to Novak, where you get an introduction to the Great Khans, as well as the NCR, in a way. But you can also get introduced through the Mojave Outpost, Prim itself, and a few other locations. Then up to Boulder City, where again, Great Khans, NCR, establishes the conflict between them, and then eventually up towards New Vegas itself. And so, through the design of just the story and how it takes you through the world, the game does a fantastic job of just introducing you to a lot of its groups. And even when you meet the Great Khans, if you don't know that they're over in Red Rock, on the sort of western part of the map, I think a bit north of Good Springs. Yeah, north of Good Springs, south of Jacobstown. You can still, you know, stumble upon it naturally, if you happen to go around that area. And just the amount of choice in the game is really nice. Having 4 different factions all vying for power. You know, Mr. House, NCR, Legion, and potentially yourself, I think is really nice. Because it just gives so much freedom. So many different ways to go about it. All the factions I quite like. The Brotherhood of Steel not being a really big part of the game, I think is phenomenal. Because Fallout 1, last half of the game is all Brotherhood of Steel. Fallout 2, I'm trying to think of how much of Fallout 2 is the Brotherhood of Steel. I mean, Fallout 2 kind of does a similar thing, where it takes the Brotherhood, and it just kind of goes, no, you're not a part of this. You are the old guard, you've been replaced by the Enclave, and they're the new big power in town. Which, you know, explains why you help them to fight off the Enclave. But I really like the fact that the Brotherhood of Steel, up until you have to deal with them for the story quest, can be completely missed. You find the Brotherhood of Steel behind a locked gate in a giant empty lot of space that just have some doors in it that you wouldn't think to check normally. Because you have to go past the NCR correctional facility to even get there, which, you know, I'm pretty sure a lot of players would even miss that if they're just heading around down the road. And the endings, I think, are quite nice. Well, it's not that close by. You have to go, if you're talking about Quarry Junction, it's a bit ways south of that. Like the actual, hold on, let me pull up the thing just so I can show it. Hidden Valley. Because the Deathclaw nest around that area is more designed to stop the player from just instantly going towards Vegas, rather than to stop you from going that way. Oh no, it actually is quite close. Oh, it's north of... Oh shit, I thought it was south of that. My bad, Kitty. You were right. Why did I think that was so far south? I distinctly remember entering there through that. Huh. Yeah, no, it's right beneath, like, Black Mountain. It's north of Repcon. Basically straight east of Goodsprings. Fuck no. I was way off. Thank you, Kitty. But yeah, so I guess, yeah, it would be a bit... Although you don't really get Deathclaws that far south of Sloan. Either way, still out of the ways. You're not likely to see them. It's very easy to miss them, and I think that's fantastic, because every other Fallout game, especially 3, is like, here's the Brotherhood of Steel. They're fantastic. We love them. They're perfect. They're the best. They're the good guys. Always. They certainly weren't assholes in the first game who mostly refused to help people. They certainly weren't, you know, recluses in the second game who, again, refused to help people unless you were a member. And hoard technology, not to use it to make the world a better place, but to keep it and make sure no one fucks up with it. So New Vegas, carrying that forward and going, well, they're old. They've gone and replaced. The NCR's come in. They've taken over, pushed the Brotherhood into hiding. I think that's fantastic. It's brilliant. I love it. The endings are fantastic. Let me actually pull up how many endings the game has. Endings. So the beautiful thing about Fallout New Vegas is how, like, piecemeal the ending is. Because based on your actions, you can get different slides for up to 29 different things. Intro, Hoover Dam victory, and then that all changes based on which side you take. The Courier, Black Mountain, Raoul, Boomers, Brotherhood of Steel, Veronica, Fiends, Followers of the Apocalypse, Arcade Gannon, Goodsprings, Rose of Sharon Cassidy 1 and/or 2, Great Khans, Jacobstown, Lily Bowen, The Kings, Rex, NCR The Misfits, Novak, Craig Boone, Powder Gangers at NCRCF, Powder Gangers at Vault 19, Prim, Eddie, NCR Rangers, Remnants, and then the conclusion. And the choices you make with each of those factions as you interact with them all dictate the different slides that you get. And that is phenomenal. I fucking love that. Especially just because for the individuals that you do interact with, you will get certain slides, and then for some that you don't interact with, you also get certain slides. I never interacted with the NCR, not the NCRCF, the Powder Gangers of Vault 19. Still got an ending slide for them. Which, if it's your first time playing the game, you might go, who the fuck are those guys? Where's Vault 19? Those seem like some bad dudes. I want to help out. I want to deal with them. And so, next time you play the game, just the fact that you beat the game has given you both a reason to play the game again, and a new thing to go look into next time you play the game. That's fucking great. I love that. Now, there are some that don't get mentioned if you don't interact with them, which is a bit of a shame, but it also allows the ending to feel very personal, because one playthrough, you might get like a 2-minute ending. Next, you might get a 5-minute ending. And so, you know, not hearing about Arcade Gannon. Next time you hear about him, there you go, new slide. Not interacting, like, helping the Fiends? Well, not helping the Fiends. Dealing with the Fiends? Fantastic. You get more ending slides. Stumbling upon Jacobstown, stumbling upon the Kings, stumbling upon the Misfits, all that stuff. Just adds so much, and it's so good. That's why the story of New Vegas is either a 9 out of 10. That looks terrible. 9 out of 10. Or fucking 10 out of 10. Go fuck yourself. It's fantastic. I love it. So good. Characters in New Vegas, very good. The companions are all really unique. You know, you have a ghoul cowboy, a fisting Brotherhood member, an NCR sniper who's haunted by the sins of his past, a caravaneer? I don't know. who's an alcoholic, a robot dog, a flying robot who's an Enclave robot, a super mutant who thinks you're her grandchild. There's so much variety to the characters, and even just the characters of, you know, Caesar/Kaiser himself, Caesar's Legion as a whole, the NCR, Mr. House. They're all so well done. And I love them. So again, 9 out of 10. Easily. Easily. Gameplay New Vegas? It's Fallout 3, but just way better. All of the skills are better designed. Small guns and big guns have been combined into guns, because fucking big guns is a useless skill. And the entire just weapon count has been greatly increased. There's more weapons, there's more reasons to use something like explosive weapons, there's more reason to use something like lasers. You have more melee weapons, more unarmed weapons, more ballistic weapons, form of guns. You know, survival, while not a skill that I personally raise very often, at least not before endgame, is very handy. You can cook more foods. Foods will heal you more. You'll get access to some really nice perks. Everything in the game has a reason, and it has a purpose. And it's so good. Except for unarmed. I've never used unarmed. But again, unarmed has some good perks, and there's probably some weapons that are quite nice for it that I've just never used personally. The addition of weapon mods makes it so that guns can feel more dynamic. You can have aspects of them change. The hunting rifle goes from being the piece of shit that it was in Fallout 3, once you get past the first 10 minutes of the game, into one of my favorite guns. The addition of a scope, an extra large clip, and the custom action, I think it's called, make it a fearsome gun. And also just it being chambered in .308 as opposed to the .32 caliber that it was before. Wait, hold on. Is 30... What's the difference between .32 caliber and .308? I'm curious now. Whatever happened to .32 caliber? They were small and didn't pack much of a punch. Okay. Yeah, they were apparently not that handy. Fitted to firearms with a bore diameter of 0.32 inches. 8.1 millimeters. Okay, now what's the .308 caliber? Let's see. Those are some big bullets. Fuck me. Huh. Can I find .308 versus .32? I don't know. Ooh, here we go. Okay, this look. Oh, U.S. concealed carry. Yeah, that's gonna be a good source. I don't know. Hunting rifle's way better in New Vegas. But yeah, the guns are better. The quests are better. Just so much of it is better. I greatly enjoy New Vegas' gameplay over Fallout 3's. 3's is fun, but it's not... It doesn't feel as well thought out. Even just the changes to something like repair, where in Fallout 3, as your guns break, they do less damage. And the repair skill dictates the maximum that you can buff your weapons up, which means that repair is a necessary skill, where if you don't take it, you are forcing yourself to use low-quality guns for most of the game. Unless you take advantage of NPC repair individuals, which they all suck. Outside of the one dude in Point Lookout, who's got a crazy high repair skill, they all suck. I hate them all. Meanwhile, in New Vegas, the repair skill simply dictates how quickly your guns break down. You can still raise them to max, and there is a 25% threshold for a weapon's durability, during which it will deal max damage. You get a little buffer period that keeps your guns doing a lot of damage, and it's simply how often you need to repair that the repair skill changes, as well as how much you repair. But either way, much better in New Vegas. So, I don't remember what I gave 3's gameplay, but New Vegas' gameplay, solid 8 out of 10. I didn't even touch on the quests, because I don't know what fucking thing to put them in. The quests of New Vegas are great. Things like Come Fly With Me, where really all it consists of is like go to a place, kill some dudes, get to a door, maybe sneak around, help one of two individuals, go back up, go back down, get 2 items from some locations. Yeah, I could go with story. I think I need to, like, properly figure out categories for this shit, because I'm floundering. But either way, you get the 2 items, you go back, and then you basically done the quest. But every step along the way of that quest, there are a variety of different choices you can make, ways to go about it, and just design decisions that are fantastic. Come Fly With Me specifically is a great example of this, because there are multiple ways to find out about that quest. You can find it just from going to the Repcon facility and being like, man, there's a lot of ghouls here, what's going on here? And you go inside and the guy talks to you. I don't remember what his name is. Chris Haverson. Chris Haverson will talk to me like, hey, come upstairs. You can find it that way. You can find it from Novak itself by talking to Manny Vargas, who the main quest points you towards. And you don't even have to talk to Manny Vargas. You can go into his computer, or you can go into his room, hack his computer, and read his journal entry telling you where to go anyway. You don't have to deal with Manny Vargas. You don't have to do the side quest. You can completely skip finding this side quest, because the game is completely okay with you missing out on content. It is not going to force any content upon you, and that is great. But yeah, you enter the facility, you go upstairs, talk to Jason Bright, go down to the basement, and you've got 2 choices. You can help Davison, you can help Harland. Now, usually, you may have to kill one or both, but there is a way to do it without killing either of them. You can kill Harland, check the computer to help out Davison. You can kill all the Nightkin and find Harland's friend to get him out of the way. Or you can just kill Davison. Or you can sneak around, avoid all the Nightkin, avoid angering Davison, get to the jail, find Harlan's friend, tell him about it, and he'll be like, damn. And then he'll let you, I think he lets you go and check the... Yeah, you can go check the computer, go talk to Davison, and then Davison leaves. You then go downstairs, or you go back to Jason Bright, tell him, go back downstairs. And when it comes to the last step, fixing the rockets, you can go get the thrust controllers from the Gibbs Scrapyard. I think that's the only way to do it. Yeah, looks like. But you can buy them, you can use speech or barter to get a discount on them, you can steal them. If you have the Lady Killer perk and you're playing a male, you can get them for free. But then for the atomic fuel for the rockets, there's a variety of solutions. You can go to Clark Field, which is what I did, and find the canister on a dude who's wearing a radiation suit. You can go to the souvenir store inside the dinosaur and get the souvenir rockets, because those have some stuff in there as well. And just the fact that there's different choices there is so good, because it means that people can play the quests and they'll come to different solutions based on, you know, what they think, what they feel, where they go, how they play. It becomes a more personalized experience because the devs took that time to make that shit work. And the game also just has choices that you only get if you're below a certain intelligence. There's a location, which I usually go to because it's a fairly decent spot for experience. There's a lot of robots, a lot of things to hack and lockpick, things to kill. You can get a fair amount of stuff out of it. If you go to the top floor, robots will ask you for a validation code, or verification code, to prove that you work there. If you have below a certain luck, you just guess ice cream, and that turns out to be the password. Because you're a fucking idiot. You're not guessing a passcode, you're just saying whatever comes to mind when someone asks you for a password. I think you might also have to have a certain luck. I don't remember. It is a luck and not intelligence. There are low intelligence checks in the game, which is fantastic. Because normally, you know, it's a balance of like, well, we want the player to have this skill really high, but like they get access to this stuff. But if they put this skill really high, they get access to this stuff. But taking a low intelligence character can work out because you've got those low intelligence checks. So you can have a low intelligence character that gets access to special things that a high intelligence character wouldn't otherwise. It's so good. I love it. And really the only downsides to the gameplay are just, it's the Gamebryo engine. and that shit was dated when Fallout 3 came out. So, 2 years later, it's not much better. It's not aged too well. But hopefully, with Fallout 4 New Vegas existing at some point in time, that problem can be solved, and, we can have just a beautiful, perfect game. The gunplay of Fallout 4 with the world, quests, writing, and design of New Vegas. The music? I don't know. I don't really pay attention to it. That initial sting from when combat starts up, that's quite good. I like that. I remember that. I don't remember much of the rest of the music. And for the most part, the game soundtrack just consists of, old classics from, I think, the 50s? It's like the 50s or the 60s or something. The stranger coming to town with a big iron on his hip. Big iron on his hip. Yeah, that music's not really to my tastes, but, it helps establish the atmosphere in the world. And then you've got the combat music, which does the job. I don't remember it. I'm sure if it was played for me, I'd recognize it, but it doesn't stick out to me. It doesn't catch in my mind and make me go, that's the fucking New Vegas music. I'm not gonna look up New Vegas combat music. Persona 5, every day of the week, I'd look that shit up. Kingdom Hearts music, every day of the week, I'd look that shit up. Because just Rage Awakened is a fucking perfect song. It's so good. Nier, fantastic songs. Bravely Default, a game that I've not played, but I've heard the final boss music for. Very good. Very good. So the music in New Vegas, solid 7 out of 10. Does what it needs to, helps with the world building. It's quite solid. The weapons in New Vegas. Oof. Kind of talked about it in gameplay, but just the selection of them, the design of them, the number of them. How many weapons are in Fallout New Vegas? Let's see. Fallout New Vegas weapon list, and then if I can, a Fallout 3 weapon list. Fallout New Vegas weapons. Here we go. They need a scroll box for the contents panel of the page. Wow. For guns, you have pistols, rifles, SMGs, shotguns, and heavy weapons. Energy weapons, you have energy pistols, energy rifles, energy heavy weapons. Explosives, you have projectile, thrown, and placed. Melee, you have bladed, blunt, and thrown. Unarmed, other, unused weapons. That's a lot of guns. There is 3 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are 18 different pistols in the game. Good God. When it comes to rifles, there are 3 times... There are 25 different rifles. Some of which might be different versions of an existing rifle. I don't quite know. Yeah, some of these are just versions of other weapons. There's quite a few SMGs, there's quite a few shotguns, which I'm a big fan of. I love the variety in shotguns. And the riot shotgun is the best. Fuck you if you think otherwise. Quite a few heavy weapons. There's a lot of energy weapons. Yeah, several energy pistols, several energy rifles, energy heavy weapons. So there really is just a beautiful choice of weaponry for the player to use, depending on, how you want to build your character. As opposed to Fallout 3, where it was like, well, do I take big guns and use about 4 weapons? Do I take small guns and use most weapons? Do I take melee and use one of the 10 melee weapons in the fucking game that I can think of? Let me see. Fallout 3 weapons. Here we go. Yeah, so there is 1, 2, 3, 4... There are about 4 pistols in Fallout 3, and then there's unique variants of them. And the Chinese pistol's fucking useless. That's a given. Chinese pistol, terrible. 32 caliber pistol, you may as well use the hunting rifle. The Scope 44 Magnum, quite good. 10mm pistol, quite good. Let me find big guns. Here we go. Fallout 3 launched with 1, 2, 3, 4 guns. Yeah, 4 guns that benefit from the big gun skill. And then you've got the Fat Man and the missile launcher. And then when it comes to energy weapons, there were kind of three energy pistols in the game that energy weapons benefited from. Rifles? Well, you've got, 1, 2. That's it. There are 2 energy rifles in base Fallout 3. And the addition of the DLCs only add, 3 more? Same thing with melee weapons, there just really isn't that many. Because it's just... Fallout 3 does not have nearly as many weapons. It's a much emptier game. And so just the pure selection of guns available, the quality of guns available, the fact that guns actually have a progression to them. You start with the varmint rifle, which is a fucking pea shooter of a rifle. You eventually transition to the hunting rifle, and then to the anti-material rifle in late game. That transition of power feels good. The transition of shotguns between the 2-round, somewhat decent damage, caravan shotgun, through the... I actually should find the proper progression of shotguns. Fallout New Vegas weapons. There it is. So yeah, caravan shotgun, then to potentially the sawed-off shotgun, to potentially the lever action, to the hunting, to then the riot, and the single shotgun exists. But fuck using that thing. Just like, the fact that you go from 2 shots at the start of the game, up to around 4 or 5, I want to say, 5 to 6, and then eventually to 12, just at a big drum, and you can fire all 12 of them faster than the caravan shotgun fires its 2, and then reloads. It's just beautiful, because the damage of it, the power that it really makes you feel, is just so good. New Vegas, by virtue of just having more, feels better designed because you actually get to feel that progression, and it's not, going from the 10mm pistol to the hunting rifle, to an assault rifle, to the Chinese assault rifle, to, whatever the fuck else. It actually feels like there is progression within types of guns. And God, is that nice. And then the DLC weapons are also very good. The Thermic Lance, which I believe is a DLC weapon. Let me actually find it. No, Thermic Lance is a base game weapon. Holy shit. That is amazing. That's terrifying. What the fuck? Jesus. Huh. You're right, kitty. Thermic Lance out of 10, baby. Pure perfection. Out of the world of New Vegas. I love the world of New Vegas so much. Just the way that it is designed to shepherd new players into reaching most of its content, beautiful. The fact that if you just go off the beaten path, you are going to find something, and that something is going to have either a cool weapon, something new to fight, a quest to do, maybe a unique weapon or something, but that's more, the starting thing. You are going to find something either of value or something that has stuff, like a skill book, a new weapon. Yeah, there's so much to it that's just beautiful. It's just so well organized. The fact that there are legitimate hard areas of Fallout New Vegas's world is fantastic. Because let's say you play the game for the first time. You think, oh, well, I have to go to Vegas. Vegas is up north. I'm in Goodsprings. I can just, cut around. And you fucking head north around Goodsprings, you see a Cazador for the first time, and you fucking shit yourself? Then, 30 hours later, when you're badass, when you've got, a fucking fat man or something, you've got a hunting rifle, you've got like an assault rifle that's really cool. You think to yourself, I'm pretty powerful. I've leveled up a fair bit. I've raised my skills. I've got some good weapons now. I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go back and shit on those Cazadors. And then you still die to the Cazadors because they're bullshit. But no, like heading to Sloan and finding the Deathclaws there and getting rocked by them your first time through, that just gives you incentive. That makes you think, these fuckers won't keep me down. I'm gonna come back here when I'm level 30 and I have a anti-mat rifle that I can snipe them from outside the quarry. And then you go in there and you find like an LMG and you're just like, what the fuck is this? This is awesome. What the fuck? Exactly. The smallest areas can have some of the most story. There is a vault that you go into that I think has like 3 rats in it. I don't even remember. Let me, hold on. Fallout New Vegas locations. It's a completely empty vault that is populated by like some skeletons and some mole rats or something. I don't remember. Let's see. Not Vault 3, not 21, not 34, not 11? No, it is 11. So Vault 11. It has some enemies? I couldn't honestly tell you what enemies in it. Giant mantises, giant rats, and bark scorpions. And then at the end, some robots. But you find just some audio logs and some journal entries from individuals who lived in the vault, and you slowly piece together that no one wanted to be elected the Overseer, which turns the vault concept on its head. Normally, an Overseer isn't really voted in, and normally, you'd want to be the Overseer. You're in control of the vault, you lead your people, and you make decisions that, you know, helps everyone stay alive. You, like, Fallout 3's, if anything, Vault 11 is a play on Vault 101 from Fallout 3. In that game, you take a test where the game straight up says who is the most important individual who we all owe our lives to and who we must bow down to every day or whatever the fuck. And the only options you get out of 4 different options is the Overseer. So to have a vault in which the Overseer is the one thing you do not ever want to be catches a player's eye. They just go, that's a bit strange. What's going on here? So just by having played the previous game, it is entirely possible for you to be drawn into the story of a single location that is entirely possible to miss. I didn't go anywhere near that location. And I still got like 50 hours of the game. It draws you in and makes you interested. And then as you learn more and more, you find out that whoever gets voted Overseer goes down to a certain part of the vault and never comes back. And so you go down, and you sit in the little chair, and you watch the video, and it says, congrats, you've been voted Overseer. And then the walls drop, and sentry turrets, and sentry robots, or security robots rather, try to kill you. Because whoever gets voted Overseer is killed. It is a sacrifice, not a promotion. And I think it's the very first entry you find in which people are horrified of the things they've done. And you enter the vault and you find 5 people's corpses, just 5 skeletons on the ground with a single pistol. And you hear them talk about how they are horrified by what they've done because they were sending people to die for hundreds of years. And the vault was a test to see what people would do when an authority figure told them that someone had to die. And by saying no, the vault door would open, and they'd be let free. And so it took down until there were 5 people left in the vault for them to say no. They listened and followed along for that long before finally telling the system no. And I agree, the vaults are one of Fallout's defining features. And Fallout New Vegas has some of the best vaults. You've got a vault in which the trusting individuals in it opened up their doors and were murdered by drug-addicted fiends. who then took over the vault. You've got a hotel in Vegas. Vault 21. Good old blackjack, baby. Which Mr. House filled most of with concrete because of some reason. I don't particularly remember why. Oh, right, he wanted to completely fill the thing out, and then... Here we go. In 2274, Robert House contacted Vault 21's residents with an offer of inclusion in the resurrection of Vegas. While most of the Vault dwellers wanted to refuse the offer, some residents were in favor of it. As a result, residents in favor of Mr. House's offer challenged each level's representative who was in favor of staying isolated. After a game of blackjack that lasted for many hours, those in favor of opening to the outside wanted an extremely risky move. Soon after, Mr. House ordered the vault to be filled with concrete, but at the request of Sarah and Sheldon Weintraub, Sheldon being, Michelangelo, he left some of the upper levels intact and allowed Sarah to establish a hotel there, which became another source of income for Vegas' growing economy. After their emergence, many of the vault dwellers went on to live new lives in the outside world, such as Doc Mitchell. But yeah, so you've got a horrible massacre, a hotel, Vault 34, which is where the boomers in Nellis Air Force Base come from, where they had basically an insurrection and stormed an armory and stole an incredible amount of guns, because Vault 34 just had an overstocked armory. And an almost like beautiful twist on American society of just like guns are everywhere. It's a vault where guns are everywhere, and eventually things go to shit. Vault 11 with the weird suicide experiment. Vault 22 with the plants growing out of control, which doesn't show up anywhere else in Fallout. If anything, it's almost an unused concept, I believe, from I believe it was Fallout Van Buren, which was originally going to be Fallout 3 before Interplay went bankrupt, and then Bethesda bought the rights. But there was an oasis in Van Buren, and Van Buren, I believe, is also where Caesar's Legion comes from. Like, there is an impressive amount of concepts that Obsidian kept from their Black Isle days and eventually would reuse, which is fucking fascinating. Gary. Yeah, like New Canaan was supposed to be in it. The Nursery. Yeah, it's a miracle of pre-war engineering. It is a self-contained, balanced ecological system set within a deep canyon. The valley floor of the canyon is rife with the flora and fauna of times past. And it is run by a machine, I believe. I don't remember. Yeah, no, it's like I think that's partially why so many of the concepts in New Vegas are really good, is because they're these really old concepts that they've had time to think over and think through. And yeah, here we go. Before the 2010 release of Fallout New Vegas, Chris Avallone, one of the main designers, mentioned that aspects from Van Buren would appear in Fallout New Vegas. The NCR Brotherhood War, the main framing device of Van Buren, is mentioned numerous times throughout the game, and a companion from Van Buren, Joshua Graham, appears, as does Caesar's Legion. Very neat. And they got an impressive amount of stuff. Big Empty was apparently supposed to show up in Van Buren. Yeah, it was actually a design taken from Van Buren, but then merged with a different thing. Very neat. Eddie Crazy Horse Galinsky. That's quite a name. Yeah, and there's so many more ideas that didn't make it in. What was I talking about? I was talking about a thing. I don't remember. Right, yeah, Vault 22. Yeah, the giant plants that are creepy as shit. The vault that's under the fort with all the Securitrons in it. Vault 19, which has some powder gaggers. The vaults in New Vegas are fantastic because they're unique. They play around with the idea of the vault, which is just so nice. So the world in New Vegas is fantastic because you have so many familiar things, but so many new things, and the familiar things have been taken and rearranged and played around with, and things have been tried with them and done with them to make them unique. 10 out of 10. Mwah. Perfetto. And the DLC. Dead Money. think is my favorite of them. From just the main point of the DLC, finding it's not the hard part. It's letting go. Just from that being, I think, just a really well done concept, to the fact that every aspect of that DLC can tie back to that and tie to other bits of it really well, just makes me love it. The poisonous cloud gripping the city tightly in its, not jaws, in its grasp, I guess. The ghost people trapped forever, unable to let go, because the cloud has corrupted them and the suits have trapped them. The character of Elijah himself, stuck with this idea of power, trapped within his desire to rule. And there's even a way to trap him in the vault inside the Sierra Madre. The Sierra Madre itself, a casino that has just been locked tight for so long. The companions, Dean, consumed by his idea and his plot to rob the Sierra Madre to get back at Sinclair, to the point where even after 200 years, he's still not let go of it. He's still holding on so tightly. Dog and God, two aspects of one being, were both wrestling for control over the body. Dog wanting to just follow whatever master he has, God wanting Dog to be safe, and the best ending for them is for them to merge and to both let go of control and to become a new, healthier being. Christine struggling with chasing down a man who stopped her love with Veronica for so long and being consumed by the need to kill him, to the point where you convince her to let go, to let the player handle it, to let the courier handle it. It's all so well done, and I fucking love it. Frederick Sinclair not being able to let go of the fact that Vera Keyes betrayed him. But in the end, he finally does. He finally goes, I'm not mad at you, Vera. It's okay. Casino will keep you safe. I know you don't love me, but that's fine. Vera Keyes being unable to, brush off Dean Domino and being so stuck with her drug addiction, which wasn't even an addiction. She took the drugs to deal with a terminal illness, just to allow her to exist. Being trapped inside the casino when the bombs drop and all the rooms lock, forever being trapped within the visage of the casino's holograms. The dialogue that plays from the holograms, that is the last moments of Vera Keyes, where she is begging and pleading Sinclair to let her go, to free her, to save her from the holograms who are wiping out all the floor's residents. It's all so beautiful, and the gameplay, for a first-time player, is fucking ruthless. On very hard, you are dropped into a DLC where your only weapon, to start with, is an electrical or an energy weapon that sucks. It blows. It is such a terrible gun, with enemies that you can't kill at the start. Eventually you realize you need to, smash the head, break an arm, who primarily use melee. The only guns and ammo you find are lying around. The ghost people themselves don't use guns. They use projectiles, explosives through the firebombs, melee weapons, unarmed weapons, those sorts of things. Guns are in short supply, so a gun-focused character, which most players are going to lean towards naturally, get very fucked over. But on subsequent playthroughs, when you learn what to take, you take melee weapons, maybe you take energy weapons if you want that gun to somehow be useful, I don't know. But you take melee weapons, you take explosives, you take unarmed, things that will allow you to flourish within the city and get above its oppressive atmosphere. I've lost my train of thought. But either way, just the progression through the villa, the amount there is to explore, the little secret bits like Dean's secret stashes, and just picking up things and turning them into the vending machines, which the vending machines themselves providing a consistent source of whatever you need as long as you've explored and found the things that will let you get the items you want. Stim packs? You can buy those. Doctor bags? I think you can buy those. I don't fully remember. Food? I think ammo, weapon mods, all of it can be acquired through finding chips, through gambling, potentially, which, for a game that takes place in Vegas, I'd say it's pretty darn good. It's all so well designed. And I think saying that it's bad because it's hard is not quite missing the point, but is failing to get past the difficulty. It's saying that something can't be good if it's hard, which I think the success of Dark Souls and the fact that it spawned Dark Souls clones is just straight up proof that that's wrong. So I personally feel that Dead Money is a perfect DLC. It is phenomenal. It is fantastic. It might be my favorite because it's just so tightly designed. Yes, it doesn't have much to explore in the ways of side stuff, but what little there is directly helps you. You have reasons to go look for the little secret stashes that Dean has put around the place. You have reasons to go look for the extra bit of Sierra Madre chips that you can find. You have reasons to go look for the holodiscs. Holodiscs? Little cassette disc tape thingies that let you get more out of the vending machines. It all keeps it tightly designed because it is very much the story of the heist of the Sierra Madre. It's not about side content. It's about getting into the casino, getting down to the vault, and getting out. And just the fact that the devs went so far with the it's not about finding it, it's about letting go, to the point where they put... How much did the gold bars weigh? There's 35 of them and they weigh 37 each. 1,295 pounds worth of incredibly valuable gold inside the casino's vault. An amount that you cannot possibly carry because it is over 3 times the max carry weight the player can get. It's so brilliant. You've found the gold. But finding the gold's not the hard part. It's letting go. It's being content with the idea that you have this immense amount of value sitting in front of you, and it could be yours. You can get it out. There's a way. It's possible. Just try. It's not that that's hard. It's accepting that you can't have it. That, I think, is magical. The fact that you can have that interpretation because the DLC of the story is written in such a way that a mere set of items in the final room of it can have that interpretation to it. I think that's brilliant. Now, at Honest Hearts, which I think is one of the weaker of the DLCs. The ending song, too. I don't remember the ending song. Dead Money ending song. What are you talking about, Kitty? Oh, okay. But yeah, Honest Hearts is one of the weaker ones. Okay. I'm trying to think of where that really fully plays. I know it plays inside the bunker when that radio's turned on, when you first go there, I think. Oh wait, no. When you first go there, it's just a message from Veracruz telling you to go to the Madre and begin again. But yeah, Honest Hearts is definitely the weakest of New Vegas' DLCs, because it doesn't really have a point. It's almost exclusively just a character examination of Joshua Graham, but that's it. You know, there's no big overarching theme outside of just the Fires of Wrath, which is more a theme of the character of Joshua Graham himself. You get trapped in this war between the White Legs and the Sorrows slash the Dead Horses. The Dead Horses being championed by Joshua Graham, and the Sorrows being championed by members of New Canaan, like Daniel. The DLC has a lot to explore. It's got some fairly decent branching paths. You can choose to fight the White Legs with Joshua Graham, or you can choose to run with the Sorrows and get them out of the canyon and leave it to the White Legs. And both sides have convincing arguments. Daniel doesn't want the local tribes to fall into the throes of violence and become violent people. He wants them to retain their innocence and just the beauty of this innocent, untouched civilization that exists. But Joshua Graham doesn't feel that it's right for them to be kicked from their ancestral home. He believes they should stay there, they should fight, it's their home. They deserve to live there. I usually go with Joshua Graham, but that's more because I want to kill the White Legs. The White Legs, have some decent ties to the main game. They want to impress Caesar, which eventually you learn later on is a complete lie. Yeah, I don't know. You actually do get unique quests based on whether or not you plan to leave or stay, which I quite like. I greatly appreciate that. The fact that there's extra content based on a choice you make is always good. The weapons added by the DLC, I think, are neat. And actually, I didn't touch on Dead Money's weapons, but Dead Money's weapons are mostly okay. I care more for the story of Dead Money than its weapons, specifically. But let me see if I can find a list of weapons. Here we go. You got the 45 auto weapons. So the auto pistol, auto submachine gun. There was a weapon called Bug Spray. Interesting. Amazing. You've got things like unique versions of main game weapons. You've got the War Club. The Yao Guai Gauntlet. Tomahawks. The Survivalist Rifle. Firebombs, which are a different firebomb to the ones used in Dead Money. Weird. What are Dead Money? What are the ones in Dead Money? I don't remember. I could have sworn they were firebombs. Let's see. Oh, gas bombs. That's what they are. But yeah, like, Honest Heart's weapons are okay. I don't much care for them. I always feel like the 45 auto pistol is a bit outclassed by most things by the time I'd be likely to get one. 45 auto SMG, never really used it. I just had the assault rifle and the marksman carbine and whatnot. Assault carbine, marksman... I think it was marksman carbine. Either way. I think the real standouts of the DLC that keep it from being not a complete disappointment, but more disappointing, for me at least, are just the character of Joshua Graham himself and the survivalist. His name is Randall Dean Clark. The story of the father in the caves, as the Sorrows mentions him, is just so great to me because, I don't know, I love a tragedy. The idea that this wilderness survival individual watches his wife and child get obliterated by the Great War. To have him put two old people out of their misery shortly afterwards, and then to just fuck off to the wilderness, and to live with his sorrows, and to, live with that guilt and that pain of maybe he could have done something, maybe he could have spent more time with them, maybe he could have died with them, and not had to have been alone. Not once, but twice, with his new partner, I think the name's Sylvia? A bit down the line. And to have two partners and children taken from. And to just keep carrying on because of just pure stubborn existence. Eventually helping, some of the women that Sylvia was a part of. Eventually helping the Sorrows become a thing. And just leaving that last beautiful message of just, I'm going to go away. I'm not going to talk to you anymore. But I'll always be here. And I'll always be watching. I've left you all I can. taught you as much as I can. It's up to you now. It's your future. You control it. These are your lands. I give them to you. Which I think is also part of why I like Joshua Graham's solution so much, because the survivalist ties into it. It is their land. They were, given it by the survivalist. He kept them safe on that land. And so now it's up to them to keep themselves safe on that land by fighting off the Whitelings. So Honest Hearts, I'd say, is, in the end, I think a 6.5 out of 10. It doesn't have just like a brilliant overarching theme. It's mostly carried by two good characters. The main part of it is okay. It's a new space to explore, some new locations, some new weapons, if you like them, some new dudes to fight, some new quests. It gets the job done. It is another DLC for the game, but I personally don't see what's so special about it compared to, the rest of them. These guys all, I think, are fantastic. So on to Old World Blues, which is the runner-up for my favorite New Vegas DLC, because where Dead Money is almost horror, Old World Blues is like a B-grade science fiction film from the 70s, which is the entire point of it. It's exactly what it's supposed to be. You have these big, grand personalities of the main think tank members being hunted by, well, not hunted, but trapped by Dr. Mobius. And each of them has a unique aspect to them. You have Zero, who's a bit of a dweeb and a coward because he refuses to stand up to Klein. You have Dala, who's just very horny constantly. And I fucking love her. She's fantastic. Klein, who's the commanding leader, and to fit his commanding personality, he's very loud. Dala is very sensual. Zero is very soft-spoken. 8, who can't speak. So he just says static and stuff. Maybe it's why. Maybe. Let me just... I'll simply say that she can watch me breathe whenever she wants. Yeah, 8 who can't speak, so you have a character who's entirely written around the idea that you don't know what he's saying. Oh, Dr. Dala from Old World Blues. She is fascinated with physiology and just body language and just like the moving tissue and muscle of the human body. To the point where you can just go to her and be like, yeah, I'll do some stretches, I'll breathe, you can just watch me. And then she just goes like, whoa, burble, 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 bloop, bloop, bloop. It's very, very silly, and I love it. And then Dr. Boris, who's just a massive fucking dweeb. Bullied in school, constantly, worried about HSA. Don't leave. How are you going to mention follow tactics if you disappear into the hedge, like Homer Simpson? But yeah, and then Dr. Boris, who's just obsessed with communism and mixing animals, and also the creator of the Cazadors, which means that he is instantly the worst human being ever. And then Dr. Mobius, who's this almost tragic figure because he's, I think, the oldest of the group. He's breaking down, he's losing his mind effectively. And yet, he's the only sane one left. No, never. Fuck you. Someone did actually come by and tell me that the proper way to play Follow Tactics is like a Baldur's Gate game where it's apparently a mix of real-time and turn-based, and that confused the shit out of me, so fucking, I don't know. And apparently there's like a mod that I could have installed that would make the game be a bit better. I don't know whether it's just like stability-wise or something, but regardless. But yeah, Dr. Mobius, just the fact that he saw the dangerous personalities of his comrades and the horrors that they've both created and could unleash upon the Mojave Wasteland, and the fact that he operated on his friends to remove their memories and trap them forever because he knew it was the only way to avoid killing them. He knew that if he let them get out, far more people would die and far more horrible atrocities would be committed by people who lobotomize you the instant you arrive. You show up and they're just like, take the brain out of that. And just the fact that he's this angry, hateful individual when you meet him, and then you find him and he's just this charming old man who's losing his mind and doesn't remember anything, but knows that he abused his only friends. But he did it because he had to. Because the only other choice was far worse. There's just something about the design and writing of Dr. Mobius that I fucking love. And even outside of the main characters of the DLC, you also have the colorful cast of The Sink. You've got the Toaster, who's a fucking psychopath. You've got Muggsy, who's insane and just wants coffee mugs. You know, me, but in tiny robot form. Well, sorry, smaller robot form, because I'm already tiny. Yeah, the stealth suit, which unlike the... Actually, I don't know if the stealth suit breaks stealth, but there's a thing in Fallout 3 that is a medic armor that yells every time you try to stealth and actively breaks stealth, which I find fucking hilarious. Yeah, the stealth suit, who's just kind of adorable. The stealth suit AI is a bit of a dweeb. Very, very nice. Yeah, like the members of The Sink, the two light switches, that one of them is intelligent, the other is a fucking massive slut. And the two of them fight, and I find that hilarious. The Sink, who's a stuffy old butler, who hates them all, and is kind of glad that all of them disappear over time, and is not that thrilled when you get them all back. The Autodoc, who's just a kindly old doctor. Happy to be awake after all this time and just fixing people up again. Fantastic. The Biological Research Station, who's a massive fucking nymphomaniac and just wants you to fill him with your seed. Just the writing of those characters, I think, is really, really fun, really unique. And it's just more of that beautiful, campy B-movie goodness. And the DLC has just so many great additions to both your character and just to the world. The amount of stuff you can explore, the amount of things you can find, the new weapons, the new... Like, let me actually pull up the list of weapons. Let me find that. Old World Blues. The add-on for Fallout New Vegas. The weapons. You've got various melee weapons. You've got a new laser rifle. You've got the Tesla cannon. Back again. You've got the K9000 Cyberdog gun, you've got the various proton axes, you've got new fist weapons, the sonic emitter, the X2 antenna. Lots of really neat, cool weapons. Most of which I don't use, but the proton axe, very powerful, very fun to use. K9000 Cyberdog gun, quite neat, it's got a dog brain to help with targeting. Sonic emitter, you can put different sound effects into it to, I think, change the effect? I don't quite know. Bonus damage against robots and power armor wearers. Bonus damage against robots, power armors. A unique critical strike dismemberment effect. Oh, okay, so it's just different effects that apply when you crit strike somebody. I see. Very neat. Yeah, a lot of neat, cool ideas in that DLC. And then, Strange Still. What is that? Oh. Fascinating. Yeah, like, just so many locations to explore, a lot of good weapons, a lot of fun weapons, a bunch of implants that you can get that buff your character. You can do bonus damage against Cazadors, so just playing the DLC and finding that location that has a bunch of Cazadors, you can buff your character in such a way to help with dealing with one of the most annoying enemies in the game. Actually, two of them. Night Stalkers are fucking annoying. Night Stalkers and Cazadors alike. You can get great buffs against them in the DLC. You can get, you know, increased movement speed while crouching, which is very handy. There's so much to that DLC that is fantastic, and I love the dialogue of the good karma ending for it, which, let me see if I can actually find it, because I do really just love it. Let's see. Old World Blues endings. There they are. The finale. Here we go. Good or neutral, or here we go. I'll just read the entire thing. Actually, no, I can just play it. Fucking hell. Fantastic.
There is an expression in the wasteland, old world blues.
It refers to those so obsessed with the past they can't see the present, much less the future, for what it is.
They stare into the what was, eyes like pilot lights, guttering and spent, as the realities of their world continue on around them.
Science is a long, steady progression into the future. What may seem a sudden event often isn't felt for years, even centuries to come.
In the times following the Second Battle of Hoover Dam, however, old world blues took on a new meaning.
Where once it was viewed as a form of sadness, nostalgia, it became an expression describing the potential for the future.
It can be easy to see science as evil, technology unchecked as the source of all ills, all misfortunes.
With the courier at the helm, science became a beacon for the future. There was old world blues, and new world hope, and hope ruled the day at Big Mountain.
And there's something about that I love. Something about that I really enjoy. I don't know if it's just incorporating the name of the DLC into the DLC and having it be transformed from this B-movie horror, expression of cynicism for the old world and taking it into potential and just optimism. Something about it I love. Yeah, very, very good DLC. Story of it's great, weapons are great, locations are great, fuck Cazadors. Characters are great, the writing's great. The bonuses you get from it are great, the perks, the implants, everything. So very good. 9.5 out of 10. Because I don't think it's as good as Dead Money. I think Dead Money just beats it out a little bit because it's just so tightly designed. And lastly, Lonesome Road, where you get to finally interact with this single individual who has both, almost in a way, haunted the courier's past, because Ulysses was originally supposed to take the Platinum Chip job, but he saw your name. He saw Courier 6 on the sheet as like the next person to ask or something, to try and hire for the job. Saw it, said, nope, let them take it. And that then gets you shot in the head. And him being just this connecting figure between the rest of the DLCs, where, honest hearts, he lied to the White Legs and said that if they destroyed the Sorrows and the Dead Horses, they'd be able to join Caesar's Legion. Meanwhile, that was A, a lie, and B, Caesar's Legion would probably just destroy their land, kidnap them all, murder the men, steal the children, turn the women into slaves. Him visiting the Big Empty and almost in a way sparking the fascination with the Mojave that the think tank had, as well as meeting up with Elijah and possibly even, I don't quite know how he factors into Dead Money, but I'm sure there's some connection, because I swear he has a connection to each of the DLCs. I mean, he does talk to her. Maybe he... I don't honestly know. FNV, Ulysses, Dead Money. I want to find his, like, exact connection to it. I don't know. I've never really found a mention of him. Either way, him just sparking all of these things because of an action the courier unwittingly committed when they brought a package from the west to the town of Hopeville, which they unknowingly created a community in just by passing through the area and kind of proving that it could be done. This package they brought happened to be, I think, an Eyebot. I don't know if it was an Eyebot specifically, but some kind of device that set off the nukes and destroyed the area and ruined the only home that Ulysses thought he could have. And so he's harbored that feeling of revenge. Not to kill the courier, but to put that pain upon them. To destroy the place that they consider home. To absolutely obliterate the only place they've ever felt safe. And to just travel through this destruction of an event that the player unwittingly caused, but doesn't remember. I think is really cool because you get to just see the devastation of the main plot point of Fallout, the Great War, firsthand. The pure destructive power that those devices can have. Both just through the destruction of the Divide, but also through the Courier's Mile, a location that you specifically create as a direct result of the story when you are forced to launch a nuke over a part of the city. And that area fucking sucks. That place is horrible. I hate going there. Death claws that live forever. Like 7 dead men? I think it's dead men. Yeah, something like that. Hanged men? What are they called? It's apparently not what they're called. What are their names? Lonesome Road. Marked Men. That's it. The Marked Men. But yeah, there's a lot of those guys there. They're a pain in the ass. As for like the location, I think the Divide's fucking fantastic. I think it's really neat to see just like I think the Divide really gets across that sort of destruction that Fallout 3 really did quite well, of just a destroyed city. Especially as you traverse further and further in, and you meet the tunnelers, you see just the pure devastation of Hopeville and Ashton. And eventually until you reach the temple itself, where everything is still horribly destroyed, but there's intact missiles there. I think that's really neat, because it's almost like pushing through the destruction and finding almost a beacon of hope, of solace, of safety, of non-destroyed shit. To use, the most technical term possible. The side locations are good. What weapons did it add? Yeah, like the enemies are cool. You got a bunch of death claws, marked men, tunnelers. There's not much to it, but I still think they're pretty decent. When it comes to weapons, you've got the arc welder. Let me close out some of these tabs I've got. The arc welder, the flare gun, the nail gun, which is quite good. A couple grenade launchers, the shoulder-mounted machine gun, Old Glory, which is just a kind of neat-looking melee weapon. It's a maple flagpole capped with a gold eagle. And the shoulder-mounted machine gun, which I actually quite like. It's a very good use of 10mm rounds, as well as red glare, which I don't know if I mentioned. Either way, some very solid weapons in that DLC. I quite enjoy them. And just having Eddie back again, I think is quite neat. Because it is Eddie, but it's not Eddie. And you can get upgrades for the main game's Eddie. And you also just get that beautiful Fallout imagery of the courier walking the name of the DLC, that Lonesome Road. Just with a single non-human companion with them. And I think that might be one of the reasons I like Lonesome Road so much, is just the imagery of it. Even just the add-on picture of the courier by themselves walking down a ruined highway, coat trailing in the wind, almost like a cowboy hat on. The sun is setting. They're kind of looking like down and towards the back, thinking on the road that they've been through. Okay, yeah, I knew that stuff. I just wasn't sure if Mute Chick was the full connection to Dead Money. Because there's the, you figure out that she's been experimented on in Dead Money. There's the dialogue the two have in Ulysses' hideout in Old World Blues, where he, mentions, his differing ideology to hers, and I think saving her? I don't quite remember. But yeah, I feel like there's a stronger connection, because he's got a much stronger connection to the other DLCs by either setting them in motion or something like that. Like, there's something there, but I can't figure it out. And also just the beautiful concept of the courier, who is this figure that starts off the game as a fucking nobody. You're a mailman, and yet you end the game single-handedly changing the outcome of a war. That individual coming head-to-head with another individual who is of basically the same caliber, an individual who was a member of Caesar's Legion, who walked the wastes as a courier and a spy, who saw so many things happen and put so many things into motion, coming head-to-head, two couriers, finally meeting at the divide, where they will have an end to things. I think that is just fantastic. That is brilliant. I love it. And so, Lonesome Road, I still think not quite as good as Old World Blues, not quite as good as Dead Money. Because it does a lot of the same things that Dead Money does. It is a more linear experience that does still have some side stuff, but I think it's a bit more than Dead Money, but it also doesn't feel as tightly designed. So I think an easy, like, 9.0, or like an 8.5 maybe. And I think the best thing is that Dead Money's theme of just letting go also ties into all of these, in a way. Finding it's not the hard part, it's letting go. You need to let go. Honest Hearts. Daniel wants the sorrows of the dead horses to let go of their lands. Their lives are not worth it. Their innocence is not worth it. But ultimately, if you make a certain choice, he needs to let go. He needs to let the tribes exist. He needs to let them make their own choices. Joshua Graham, he needs to let go of that passion, that fire, that hatred in his soul that he feels for those who cross him. Can he? Who knows? But he needs to try, or else those fires may consume him, in a similar way to how they once did. Old World Blues, the courier potentially lets go of their brain. They let it exist outside of themselves. The think tank need to let go of their desire to test upon the wastes, because when they held that desire so closely, one of their colleagues and friends trapped them in basically a mental time loop, experimented on them to trap them there forever. And then Lonesome Road. Ulysses, an individual who's held on to this hatred for the courier for so long, when the courier didn't mean to do any of it. It's not their fault. And it's not Ulysses' fault. It was just an accident. And so if you keep Ulysses alive, almost in a show of him not fully letting go of it, or maybe because he let go of it, he ends up sitting alone in front of the entrance to the canyon wreckage back to the Mojave Wasteland. Just sits there, looking out over the divide, over the destroyed wreckage of a place he once called home. The only home he's had in his entire life. And I think it's so brilliant that the theme of my personal favorite DLC manages to apply to all of them, in a way. And I think that's just really incredibly just strong and powerful, and God, I love it. Especially because I'm an individual who is a bit of a control freak. So I think that theme just touches very close to me. But in the end, Fallout New Vegas, a very solid game. One of my personal favorites. The story, phenomenal. The characters, well written. The gameplay, a step above Fallout 3, and exactly what it needs to be. The music, good enough. It does its job. The weapons, Thermic Lance, do I need to say more? But no, the variety, the choices, the designs, the potential. Even just the way that the perks interact with weapons, you know, having the riot shotgun be able to knock enemies down, to then allow you to catch up and do melee hits, the ability to stay at range with a variety of guns, or to get close. You have so much choice with the weapons. The world, brilliant, brimming with content and things to do and stories to find. It's so good. And then the post-game content that Obsidian released are all, well, mostly phenomenal. Some of the best parts of the game. Dead Money, my personal favorite, has a theme and design so strong that it just feels like a step above the rest. Honest Hearts is there, and is more Fallout New Vegas, so that's good. Old World Blues, just this beautiful B-grade campiness with some really poignant and well-done writing. Yeah. And some great weapons and locations. Very, very good. And then Lonesome Road, a perfect cap off to the end of New Vegas. You start the game alone, just bringing a chip to a guy. You get shot in the head. And the last bit of content for the game, you have to go alone. Even when you do find a companion in there, it gets taken away. This is the courier's road to walk. This is their lonesome road. I think it's all just very, very well done. And it's such a shame that we'll never see a game like it ever again. So, this is a little interdiction of sorts that I want to put in, because I realized whilst talking about Fallout New Vegas' DLCs, I'd missed something to mention. So I'll just be editing this in afterwards. Fallout New Vegas' DLCs managed to be so much better than Fallout 3's DLCs by virtue of just having a single story to them. Because where Fallout New Vegas is the story of the Courier 6, its DLCs are almost the story of Ulysses. The story of Ulysses, yeah. Where throughout the DLCs, by experiencing the narratives that each of those DLCs have, you get this cohesive story of this individual that the Courier has never met. I think. I don't believe they've ever met. But whose lives the two of them have impressively changed just through their actions. The Courier built up a community in Hopeville that Ulysses saw as something special, and then eventually one day destroyed by bringing that package. And Ulysses, driven by that rage and that fury, made the Courier go on gave the Courier the opportunity to go on a journey that would potentially kill them by bringing the Platinum Chip to Mr. House and putting them directly in the path of Benny. Meanwhile, Fallout 3's DLCs consist of, let's fight some aliens, and let's go have a ghoul fight a brain, and the brain betrays you if you help him. And, hey, the Chinese? You remember that part of Fallout? Yeah, you want to fight the Chinese in Anchorage, Alaska, with guns that look basically the same as the ones 200 years later that should have, rusted away a bit. And then also just the Pit, which is, I think, the best of all these DLCs, where you actually have a neat world space, an okay collectathon bit, not really a moral choice of, keep slaves or eat a baby, but, I think it's the closest that Fallout 3 really gets. And so you compare them, and it's like, Fallout 3's separate, unique DLCs that are focused more on the gameplay, which Fallout 3 is more of a gameplay style of game than New Vegas. New Vegas focuses more on writing and world and characters. Yeah, Fallout 3, where it's very much more focused on the gameplay, versus New Vegas's very connected series of DLCs that all have, very unique premises that work for gameplay and for design. It's quite fascinating to see. But yeah, New Vegas' DLCs, very, very good. 9 out of 10. Honest Hearts could have been better. That's it. That's all I have to say. So, ending will continue as usual. Thank you for watching. Yeah, all in all, I don't remember what I gave Persona 5. I don't remember what I gave other games that I think are fucking phenomenal, but easy 10 out of 10, baby. Easily. God, I love it. Either way, that, I think, will be about it for the stream. It's a bit late. I need to go to the bathroom. So, thank you to everyone who stopped by. Greatly appreciate it. Quite glad to be done Fallout New Vegas again. As I can move on to Fallout 4 and actually play through that game. Despite having 150 hours in it. But, Fallout New Vegas, always fun. Always good to get back to it and just think about it and play it and be in that world again. Very good. So thank you once again. Hope you all have a lovely day. I should be live tomorrow. I don't even know if I have school tomorrow, honestly. There's some conference thing that I can go to, but don't need to. I don't fucking know. Either way, thank you all once again. Have a lovely night. Bye-bye.